get this separate. Okay, I will get a lot of flack for this, and I know it because no one wants to talk about it, but I read a post, and this is a prime example of what I'm talking about with this situation. People were getting married, this couple, and they wanted a very traditional wedding. They just wanted dresses for the girls and suits for the guys because they just wanted that very traditional. They're very traditional. And they asked their guy who thought he says he's a girl, and okay, like no one has denied him that, like okay, you're a girl, but for this, like the wedding they're paying for, that they're asking of everybody, even the children, they have to wear their best Sunday best practically to go be at this wedding, and that's their wedding. That's their wedding. They're not asking him out of malicious intent. They're just asking out of everyone. And this person got offended and called them out on their homophobia and said, it's like, I'm not coming. And they were sad. And to me, I just commented, I'm like, okay, I can understand him being hurt and uncomfortable, but they couldn't have sat down. He couldn't have, I said, because he didn't give them a chance. He says, and he walked out. I'm like, wait a minute, he didn't even give them a chance. They could have just went shopping, found a suit that would have displayed his sense of style, but also being, on outwardly as a tux. They couldn't have done that. They couldn't have at least talk. Now, I get it, like, he wants to be a woman, and that's great. But the thing is, he didn't look like a woman. That's what I mean, like,
Well, what does a woman look like?
No, like, that's what he said himself. He said, I have beard and, like, so I was a little confused. I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm like, but even if he is a woman, and that's fine. Like, that's your thing. But just from what the description from even OP himself, it looks like it was going to be blatant that he was a dude. But that's what I thought it sounded like. Now, if he looked like a girl, okay, then that's different. And he commit, like, look, okay, that's fine. I get that part. But he didn't. That's just what it sounded like. So I'm like, okay, and even if you were offended, why couldn't either of you have sat down and talked about it instead of you, because that's what they were doing, yelling from the rooftops that they were homophobic, they were denying you, and you will not go, and calling them down when you could have literally just sat down first and figured it out.
All right, well, let's talk about the layers. So the first immediate layer whenever I hear stories like that is, and this is probably the reality, but again, I don't know, but this is the first thing that people need to think of. We don't know the full background of the relationship between these people.
True.
They could be very homophobic. They could have had a history with this individual of being unkind and of not being accepting of their life and their choice and who they are. If that's the case, that individual had every right to bless them.
Yeah, if that's the case, that makes sense.
But we don't know that, so for the public to assume it's the opposite and the couple is wonderful and being accepted and this person's one with the issue, that's a problem. And that, sadly, is the stance that society takes the most. We automatically assume the villain is the queer person, that they're blowing it out of proportion, that they're blah, 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 blah. When the reality is, behind the scenes, there's usually a lot of hate involved towards that person.
Oh.
And the public automatically goes, well, they're the problem. That's why we have so many issues with queer people in history. Everyone vilifies this person first, not these people. There could be so much hate in this situation, and they might have done it blatantly to prevent them from being in the wedding because they didn't want them in the wedding. They didn't want them showing up in a dress. They didn't want them being true to themselves, so they made that rule for everyone at the wedding. All women must wear dresses, all men must wear tuxes, no exception, blah, 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 blah. It was their way of pushing them out.
Okay, but here's my question.
There's a base thing.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Yes. I get that.
And without knowing truly what the full situation is, no outside person has a right to comment on it. No. Because you don't know.
That's true.
You just don't know. Then there's the other situation.
Okay.
So, let's just talk about the individual. Now, you know me. I'm probably the most open-minded person in the entire world that you will ever meet.
Yeah.
Truly. When it comes to trans individuals, I fully understand, accept, period.
Okay.
Because, and here's where, when I, talk to people or counsel people through, I've had a lot of parents in the past that have come to me, their child comes out as trans and that they feel this way, and they come to me to have conversations and go, talk me through what is happening, what is done, how do I react, how to best, blah, 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 blah. And I go, first of all, bravo to you, you're asking.
Yeah.
So already, I know you have no hate or whatever towards this individual, because otherwise you wouldn't ask.
Right.
So here's the other baseline. I'll compare. That's the best way. Humans, we do well with comparisons.
Yeah.
So, let's start with a very shaky comparison, but just to kind of get your head in a different space.
Okay.
Okay. To a person who is born with, let's say someone who is born looking facially Asian. Okay. And they look at and are surrounded by people who are, let's compare your situation.
Yeah.
Caucasian people. That is the standard of beauty. That is a blah, 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 blah. They feel they were born in the wrong skin because they're not pretty enough, because they don't look that way. Okay? It happens a lot where we as humans feel we've been born in the wrong skin all the time. People like me who have issues with body dysmorphia and our physical appearance. I feel I was born in the wrong body. I don't like the vehicle that I was given. Because the bottom line is, this is a vehicle.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And we humans forget that very often. Very often. We get caught up with the look of our vehicles, just like we do with actual vehicles. I have to have the best, the shiniest, the newest, the blah, blah, blah. Okay, but honey, the thing only does one thing for you. It gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It does nothing else. Doesn't matter if it looks beautiful, shiny, new, and costs you $200,000 versus one that cost me $800 used. It still gets me from the same point A to point B that you are. I don't care that yours looks better. My vehicle works. We treat cars that way. But these vehicles we get really caught up in. That it has to be perfect, it has to be this, and blah, 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 blah. And then you have voices from, and a lot of them are religious groups, as everything comes down to.
Of course.
That, well, you have to embrace fully the vehicle you've been given. Don't complain about it. You can't change anything about it. It is how God meant you to be, or it is how Krishna meant you to be, or how Allah meant you to be, and you can't adjust it. Putting makeup on is not okay because you're adjusting the vehicle. You can't have piercings because it's adjusting the vehicle, and you should never do that because it's giving the middle finger to the creator. This is the vehicle you were given. I get that somewhat. And then I always pose the question, what about people who are born without an arm?
That's what I was just thinking. What about the disabled?
What about people who are born with severe autism, with Down syndrome? They didn't choose for that vehicle to be born that way. I would never tell any of my individuals at Gigi's that they are messed up or born wrong or a broken vehicle, because it's not. They are beautiful, wonderful humans. But their vehicle is different. They were born into a different vehicle that they didn't get to choose. They just didn't. So we, at places like Gigi's, work with them and help them figure out a different way to function in life with how their brain is wired, so that they can do everyday things that normal, quote-unquote, people, hate that word, do. But sadly, that's a division that society does. They look at them and go, well, they're not normal. They can't do things that normal people can. Yes, they fucking can. They just have to learn how to do it differently.
Right.
Or they will do it differently. Or it will look a little different.
That's
They're still
basically
able
my
to do it.
life with my siblings.
Yes. I have had to learn with my vehicle, and I'm very open about it on social media and everything. When I go and talk to groups and talk to whatever, I had to learn that I cannot switch vehicles as much as I would love to, and have a vehicle that I deem is beautiful and my version of beautiful for me. Now, I am fine with the biological sex that I was born as. I'm fine with that.
That's a real, that has a real big thing on you as a person. So.
But my social gender, what we have made gender socially, what is male, what is female, I don't agree with. I don't really identify as socially male. Most of the things I do are socially female. Dance, my favorite color is pink.
Yeah.
I do like wearing skirts once in a while. I do like wearing makeup. I do like having my nails painted. I don't walk, talk male.
Right.
Socially male.
Socially, yeah.
Because again, gender we created. Sex is one thing.
Yeah.
That's your biology that you were born with. But gender we created.
That's true.
That's where the issues are.
Yeah.
And so this is where all the pressure is. This is where all the, it's... Ugh.
Honestly, I don't understand why we do that, because here's the thing, here's my little frustration, because I think, here's my thing, where I'm coming from. I know it's not their fault, or me. My problem is my brain can't keep up. That's where I'm in trouble. And I always get angry because I'm trying to figure this out, and people kind of look at me like I'm wrong. Like again, that girl, I guess that traumatized me because she thought I was lying. And I'm like, I didn't know. And it's like, you're a liar, you're homophobic, you're a and then her old friends are, oh my God, you're a horrible person. And I'm like, I just didn't know.
Well, and again, you trust
Trauma.
me in my opinion,
Trauma.
and know that I am a truthful person. You are not homophobic in any way.
Oh, thank God.
Okay? You aren't.
Thank God.
Again, like you just said, you know your brain is wired differently.
Yeah.
And so in order to fully grasp and understand things, you have to have them broken down. And you have to have them broken down in a certain way.
Yeah.
And so that's why you've learned that you can come to me with these conversations and questions, because I know how to break them down for your brain.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And this is something that you need broken down for you because your brain isn't grasping.
Right.
And that's okay.
When you got to the base level already, I could see the flaws in my logic. I was like, oh shit.
Yes, and that's okay. It is so good. Let me phrase it better. It is better to have oh shit moments.
Yeah.
Than it is to just think you're okay with your thinking and go forward. You are learning to have oh shit moments.
Yeah.
You are learning to have those step back, ask questions about it, talk about it. Eventually you're going to learn to have those before you ever respond to posts.
Yeah.
You'll read a post, get angry or get confused, and then automatically come to me or another person in your life and go, I just read this post and before I comment on it, help.
Yeah.
Because then you'll get to that oh shit place. So then if you do feel like you're going to comment in a very different way.
Yeah.
So, back to the gender stuff. I identify as biologically male. Gender, I don't. So when people ask me, how do you identify, I always tell them non-binary or gender non-conforming.
Right.
That doesn't mean I don't think I'm biologically male or don't agree with or feel comfortable with the identity of biologically male. My biology is separate.
Right.
From my gender. Gender, I am very non-binary. Some things I do are what we socially consider male and male normal. And then some things I do are considered very female normal. That's who I am. I embrace it, love it.
Yeah, but to me, those are just things we've all just initiated in our heads, though. They aren't factual.
But people treat it as factual. And that's where we build divides between people and issues. People defend gender like it's sex. This is where all the anger is. This is where all the hate and anger towards queer people center, because we don't fit those. We're either the complete opposite or we're the mix, like people like me. And all should be fine, because this is called personality. We assign this to
just
sex.
The thing with sex, the thing is, the only reason it exists is just to procreate.
Yes.
The only reason.
Yes, but we've made it more.
Right.
So much more.
Although, can I have a question? Here's something that's been bothering me. Now I'm a little hesitant because I know you can talk your way out anything with me. But I am personally of the stance, now, in a perfect world, it wouldn't be a problem. But it's not a perfect world, unfortunately. But I always get on the defense when sports are involved. Because I get it, the trans guy who wants to be a girl. Okay, so chosen trans woman. Thank you, sorry. Trans woman. My brain had to get there for a second.
There you go, yes.
I'm learning.
That's you learning, and that's you working through.
Right, thank you. Anyway, they want to be like on the swim team, like that story.
Absolutely.
I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, but it's not fair because biologically, now I know it's not fair because you didn't ask to be born with this special equipment. You just were born with this, like you just said. You were born with these chemicals that allow you to have an advantage. And in a perfect world, that wouldn't matter. But it's not a perfect world. And I'm sad because I'm like, I wish I could root for you being on the team because it shouldn't matter. But it does. And I'm going to have to take the team with the women because these women, we can't trust or know or feel safe that this was legit or was it a testosterone thing. So, and I feel sad because it's like, I wish, but the thing is, it's like, it's never going to happen, at least not with the modern technology that we have, at least to now. So, I just feel sad because I'm sorry, I feel so bad for the swimmer. She understandably and rightfully felt betrayed because she was deprived of what she had earned. Flat out. And everyone just cornered her legit into a room or a closet, I forgot what it was, and I felt so horrified that I'm like, society, okay, listen, I get it, but here's my thing, it's like what you said with trauma, like slavery does not outdo the Nazis, what they did to the Jews, but both are equally rightfully upset and angry and have every right to be traumatic. And now the same with feelings. Why does your that's a little rude, but what is your feelings outweigh hers? And hers should not outweigh yours. So it makes both sense. It's not a fair situation for either. Yes. And I'm sad. But the thing is, it's like, I can't.
That's, you just answered your whole question. You just got there yourself. And I'm very proud of you for getting there.
Okay.
I'm trying not to be choked up.
Thank you. Oh.
You're not siding with either side, and that is the answer.
Okay.
And that is the answer we're missing socially.
Oh.
Both sides are correct. Both sides have points. The only way this comes back to what we broke down a couple weeks ago, there's a difference between a conversation and an argument. An argument seeks a victor. A conversation seeks a solution or an answer.
Okay.
The problem is
there is no answer.
There is none right now. Why? Because let's think about sports, okay? Let's think about just sports in general. Let's just talk about sports. What we have turned sports into is very binary. There are literal women's sports and men's sports with very little crossover. They're played different. There are different rules. There are different skills. There are different blah, 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 blahs. That's where the actual issue is. Again, we divide everything like we have with gender because we make the whole world about gender. Walk in a fucking toy section. There's a girls aisle, there's a boys aisle. Yeah. How many girls do you know shop in the boys aisle?
Lots.
How many boys do you know shop in the girls aisle? Lots. That's the reality. Society wants to make us believe that that's not the reality. No, look, obviously it works because all the boys' toys are here and girls' toys and they're all selling out all the time. It's like, go back to the cameras. Let's watch who's buying them.
Right.
Let's go to the houses and watch what kids are playing with what toys.
Mm-hmm.
Reality says one thing, society saying another. Sports. I use gymnastics all the time as an example. Gymnastics pisses me off. Okay? Pisses me off. Always has since I was little. Pisses mom off too. When I was being trained for the Olympics by our coach.
Whoa, the Olympics?
Yes, I was. I was on an Olympic training team.
Wow.
I was scouted at, I think it was 7 or 8. And he started training us, so by the time we were 14, we could try out for the Olympics.
Damn, go Andrew.
And I was super excited.
Yeah.
And we started training, and then I had the realization that boys didn't get to use music with our floor exercise.
Wait, why not?
Because that's how it is.
What do you mean that's not how it is?
That's just how it is.
So you just
When
have to
gymnastics was
exercise in
divided,
the dampness of the silence?
yes, it's
What?
to silence. Men's gymnastics floor exercise is to silence. And it's illegal to do any dancing. It's just tumbling passes, strength things, core stuff, and a couple floor skills that you're required to do.
Can't even do a lap dance? Sheesh.
No dancing allowed. You can't do leaps or jumps because those are girls' skills. That's how gender divided gymnastics is.
That's very Western feels. That does not feel. That feels roughly like your old grandpa. No, in my day time period.
And
Thank you.
then women's gymnastics has the balance beam,
Okay.
which is considered a finesse apparatus because you're doing leaps, jumps, turns, beautiful moves, choreography, and tumbling.
Yeah.
Men aren't allowed to do beam, it's illegal.
What?
Men have pommel horse, which is all about strength. Men have rings. Women don't do rings because it's a strength skill. Women aren't considered strong enough to do rings. It was catered to the male body.
Oh.
Vault, we vault completely differently. Women have certain vault skills, men have certain vault skills. It's the same apparatus, but it's done differently because, well, women can't do those skills. Well, men can't do those skills because those are finesse and, pretty and blah, blah, blah. That is literally how gymnastics is set up.
Damn.
Me as a little boy, I wanted to dance. Hello.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the pretty moves. And I was told you can't, you're a boy, boys don't do pretty moves. Gender. Boys are this, girls are this.
Now, to be fair, now I'm saying being this be silly, don't worry. I sometimes not so clear on that part, I've noticed. But, well, I mean, of course, we girls would be a little on heights with guys to dance. Because, come on, if we had you going on, we never win medals. Andrew, come on, be realistic.
But what happens is,
But yeah, I get it.
because of how many decades of that mentality went in, that men were only allowed to train here, and it was all about strength and power. Women over here, it was about finesse, pretty, and strength. But
To a
not as
degree.
much to a degree.
Yeah.
What happened was everyone bought into it. So it was considered, well, women can't do those apparatus. They literally physically can't. Men physically can't do that stuff. They're not built for it. And for a long time, everyone believed it and went along with it. And it was normal. Boys were told, you don't do that skill. Get off the beam. That's not your apparatus. You're a boy. You do this. Blah, 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 blah. And eventually, physical bodies, a man's physical body, if he trains in those apparatus, is going to get big and bulky and be much stronger than her because she's being trained from age 4 for flexibility and some strength. So yes, if once she's 18 and been doing this for 14 years of her life or 15 years of her life, then goes and tries to do a male apparatus, she won't be able to.
Right.
If he goes and tries to do this apparatus, he won't be able to.
He'll pull something.
But then you get to ask the question, all right, well, what if we train a girl to do this apparatus from age 2 and 3? And what if we train a boy to do this apparatus from age 2 and 3? All of a sudden, when you do that, she's just as good as the guys. And he's just as good as girls. Even playing field. The sex has nothing to do with it. The gender did. Are our physical musculatures different? Just how we're woven? Absolutely. but each one is capable of doing the other thing. The world record holder right now for deadlift, which is an Olympic sport, which is where it's the big barbells with just massive amounts of weight, and you have to deadlift it, so you do from a straight stand and have to get it all the way up.
Yeah.
It's like, it's considered those are the strongest humans on the planet. The current world record holder is a woman.
Isn't that 60-year-old woman?
I don't remember, maybe. The current world record holder is a woman. So you cannot lie to me and say that women are not capable of getting as strong as a man is because she's stronger. It's how you train the body. The problem with the swimmers is men are trained differently in swimming. Women are trained different in swimming, meaning the conditioning they do at practices is different. They make men do 40 push-ups, 50 crunches, 70 sit-ups. Girls only have to do 20, 30, and 40. So yeah, they're not building the same kind of muscle. So yes, if you take one of them and put him in the pool over here, certain things he's going to be better at because he's stronger in certain areas. She'll be faster. But in the strokes that require more strength, he's going to win.
I'm sorry, but the thing is, like I said, there's just not winning. There's just no winning for either.
No, because we're hundreds of years into this mess of
millennial years.
How we train athletes. And so it does set up any trans person for failure, because before she came to who she is, she was being trained as a male swimmer with those stronger reps and that kind of stuff. So yes, it is going to be difficult to transfer in. She's not set up for success. It should be easy to pop anyone in. Honestly, if the Olympics were done correctly, everything would be mixed gender.
You know, of all the things the government puts money into, I would really want this. I would love for people to have their children, the children who want this, you know, make sure. And
do a study.
Yeah, do a study.
Yes, do a study. Let's do a 18-year study.
Like this even of girls and boys, and even of girls and boys here, one doing female, one doing masculine. Feminine and masculine.
Let's see what happens.
See what happens. And I don't see, you know, like they pay the parents well, so make sure they're all well and situated, make sure that children get their education, but are trained, and yeah. So I would love to see that happen. But also I would want 4 studies of that here, because I want it done there, but I also want it done here, so that we make sure that the results are more clear. So.
Yeah, but it's hard. Sports and all that kind of stuff, anything that is societally based is going to be difficult for trans individuals. It just is.
It's going to be difficult for all sets of life.
Because we've been set up horribly. Normal life stuff should be easy.
Yeah, that I get. Like if you like, I like it.
We
like
make that difficult. Clothing. Number one, clothing is stupid.
It is.
Because clothing, we have set up binary.
Yeah. You know, actually, there's
Suits are for
this
men.
Asian dude.
Dresses are for women. Who decided that? Originally, dresses were for men.
Right. Have you seen the 1500 portraits?
Hello. When did we get obsessed with this divide between fashion?
Oh, I found that out.
And for no, I just mean
okay.
Like hypothetically, when, why, why did it happen? Why? Because again, we love as humans to categorize. Oh, you're this. And we do that when we first meet someone. You get that all the time.
Yeah, especially with those
your
weird...
siblings do it with you just based off of your brain.
Well, there's a lot of things. There's
well,
gender, race,
special needs.
needs, yeah.
They're like, oh, well, you're this, so you can't understand. Way to put me in a very binary box. Yeah. Well, you're this, so you're here. You can't be over here. Reality is, there are no boxes around us as humans. There are none. We weren't created to have them. We made them. Boxes don't exist. And when people talk about just with the transgender existence. People are like, well, it's not natural, it's blah, blah, blah. I go, hold on. There are over 60 species of animals that change their gender.
60, wow.
That once they reach a certain age, their gender changes. Their literal genetics change. Their organs change. And then there are, I think, another 40 or 60 species that will force change their gender depending on what's happening in their society. So if more females were just born, some of the existing females will change their gender to be male. And vice versa. Males will change their gender to be female so that they continue to reproduce. So you can't tell me it's not natural, because it happens in nature. That means whatever creator created that to be a thing. Just like I defend all the time when people are going, well, being gay is unnatural. I go, tell that to the thousands of species of animal that we have found that have homosexual relationships. If it exists in nature, by definition, that means it's natural.
I do have a question.
We are part of nature, so it's natural. We've made it unnatural.
I have a question. This part has always scared me a little, but my mom's always coming at me with not in a malicious way, but she's always saying how lesbians, if one wanted to like not date the other, they had to like go all. And this is not an extreme level, but they had to go like basically like a witness protection program type hiatus to protect themselves because the other one will kill the other one. And I'm like, okay, those are psychopaths, but
literally.
But it's like, but I guess what she means is I guess more or less it's more on females. And I'm like, is that true, or is this what is this?
Again, that's a very societal. Building a stereotype of lesbians.
Of course it's the lesbians because they're girls, so of course they're vilified.
Exactly.
I actually pointed that out once. I was like, Mom, don't you think that maybe this is just another way for the man in the suits to just vilify the women? And I just remember there was a silence. And it only lasted 2 seconds, but it felt like an eternity.
Yep, it's true. And with the gay men, because the idea of men being feminine is so vilified, that of course we're going to view gay men as whatever.
I love gay men. I'm sorry. I wish you guys weren't gay because you guys are the prime of the fruits. I'm sorry. In a way, I'm sorry. But it's like you guys take care of your skin and you look so nice. And of course I'm going to want that. I'm not going to want that idiot in shorts in the winter looking like a freaking overgrown 12-year-old.
Well, in reality, and you already said it when you were talking about the whole sports thing, and I love that you said it. In a perfect world, in a perfect world, gender would not exist. There would be biological sex.
Sure.
And that's it.
That's it.
In a perfect world, and I have had this conversation with a lot of people. And I've upset a handful of people by saying this, and I understand why I did. And I told them, I said, you're just not in a place yet in your life where you're ready to hear that because you are taking it as an attack when it's not. In a perfect world, if gender never existed, we never created it. We never tried to build a divide between a you and a me. You were just allowed to become. However, whoever, whatever you were going to like, whoever you were going to like, whatever colors you were going to be drawn to, whatever. Imagine, and it's a very difficult thing to imagine because from birth we are put into a box. So much so that hospitals put pink hats on biological females and blue hats on biological males. So from the time you are born, you're put into a box. Girl, pink, soft, feminine, gentle, quiet, obedient. You will like princesses. You will like glitter. You will like this. You will like this. Boys, blue. You will like dinosaurs. You will like trucks. You will like tough things. You'll be masculine. Guns. Blah, blah, blah. Violence. from birth.
Yeah.
We are programmed right away. Instead of being allowed to do and be what should happen, and there should be no programming put on us, we should just be allowed to start discovering life on our own, and then guided only in places of right and wrong, what's dangerous, what's safe. That's it. If that's all we were ever guided on, we would be allowed to figure out this vehicle for ourselves. I would never have hated this vehicle, ever. Because the hate for this vehicle was put on me because I was being told what a boy should be, gender boy, not biology, gender boy should be, what I should like, how I should talk, how I should walk, how I should look, muscles, masculine, blah, 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 deeper voice, this, you should like these kinds of toys, these kinds of, and I didn't. Internally in my soul and my brain, I didn't. It didn't fit. It was like an ill-fitting coat. But I was forced to wear it because that's what society demanded you do. And when you hate how you feel in a coat, you start hating how you feel, period, in your skin. So even when the coat is off, you still hate how you feel because you remember how the coat feels. So I hated my skin. I hated how I looked. I started seeing the issues, the imperfections. My soul said I wanted to be this, but I couldn't, I was over here. Which is why I think I have such an understanding of trans individuals, because I know what it feels like to not feel good in your own skin. I wanted to be this, but I was born this and forced to be this. So I get it. I get being born in the wrong skin. So if gender didn't exist from the beginning, and it was just your biological sex, it had nothing to do with how you fit in society, the clothes you could wear.
Right.
You could walk in a store and there was no men's section, women's section, children's section. It was just divided by size, that was it.
That's it.
And everything was mixed.
Right.
There were dresses hanging with suits, and there was no gender on it. It was just sizes and different cuts and different tailors. That's it.
Right.
Imagine that world, first of all.
Well, actually, I have.
Beautiful.
I remember thinking that exact notion. It's like if gender wasn't even a thing, we wouldn't even give a 2 cents of anything.
Exactly. Go into a hair salon. There's no such thing as a men's hair salon and a women's hair salon. It's just a hair salon. And you can get any cut, any length, any
Tell
color,
that to the prices.
any whatever. And literally, well, the price thing wouldn't exist either because
Right.
that's based off of gender.
I know.
So everything would be same price for everyone because everyone's literally the same. Nothing is based off of the thing between your legs.
Right.
We base everything off of that. Imagine if that didn't exist. Any human could wear a dress out on the street. Any human could wear a t-shirt and shorts out on the street. Anyone could wear a bikini. Anyone could wear just swimming trunks. Anyone could whatever. If we didn't have
That's sexualized.
yes, that kind of whatever, it would be just as normal, and this is a hard one for people to swallow, it would be just as normal for a woman to be topless on a beach as it is a man to be topless on a beach.
Yeah, it would be.
Because there'd be no difference.
Right.
Nipples are nipples. Get over
Right.
it. You
Get
know what I'm
over it.
saying?
That's why I get so angry when people are like, why is she being her baby in public? I'm like, do you hear yourself?
It should be normal, but it's not, and it all comes down to gender
Yeah.
and what we have made it.
Right.
Sports would have never been divided, wouldn't be divided now. You can do whatever you want. Train however you want. You want to train harder and be big and bulky? Do it. You want to be lithe and beautiful and do that kind of sport? Do it. It would be accepted, it would be encouraged. All of a sudden, everyone would be on a level playing field.
Yeah, with a millennia of bodies having, not having to, like, we probably wouldn't even have that problem.
Yes, our physical bodies and musculature would probably actually
It'd
be
be very,
the
very
same.
different because we would have been able to evolve to be as such.
Yes, because our physical bodies have evolved. If you go back to old pictures, the oldest kind of pictures we have, paintings we have, whatever, bodies look really similar.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just look at Greek male bodies and the ideal Greek male body. It's put boobs on it. It's a woman.
Yeah.
Curvy hips, love handles, curvy chest, curvy arms, curvy. It's what we call a woman body, just minus boobs.
Right.
So obviously we have changed our musculature through the years and genetics. We know that we're able to adjust our genetics based off of what I condition my body to. If I reproduced with someone that conditioned their body to be a certain way, our children would have that physicality.
I have heard a study shown that women's bodies have been for the last 100 years have been shown to make been closing the gap actually between the sexes. So it's already seen it happening.
Because we have more athletes. Now you look at women's gymnastics, and the average female gymnast build is bulky. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Because we're training strength first now, grace second. They're still able to do leaps and jumps, but now their tumbling skills, they're tumbling just as high as the guys are. They're doing the same skills that the men are. There's no more divide anymore between tumbling. Because we've changed how we condition their bodies.
Actually, there was this, my sister, the Russian, and I say it with affection because she's a tank. She walks like my dad was feeling low the other day, understandably, because some of his children. Anyway, they give him more love and support in the world, and they just stream like crap. Anyway, so and he's like, and I'm like, Dad, you could be dying in the hospital right now, and that Russian will be flying down the aisles while the rest of us are handing out sorry cards to the poor victims that were flown out by this. Right now, it's insane, and I'm sorry, but because she's so muscular, my point is she's so muscular, and I love it. I just saw her the other day. I'm like, you look so good, and I was like, and I knew it made her feel happy to hear that in a positive light.
Again,
yeah.
If the gender construction that we have built all of society off of didn't exist, none of these issues would exist.
Yeah.
Which would mean socially, we could present however we want. I could wear nothing but dresses and skirts all day long, and there would be no issue. No one would think anything of it. No, it would have nothing to do with or downplay my biological sex. I could have a biologically male partner and no one would care because it wouldn't matter. Everything wouldn't be about reproduction and gender.
Especially now with the population.
We wouldn't have that issue if gender didn't exist. Think about it. So, if all of that existed and we lived in that perfect society, would there even be anyone who would need to come out as trans?
Not really.
No, because there would be so much peace with our biology because it would have nothing to do with who we actually are. Would anyone have to come out as gay? No. We only have to do that because of societal norms. Would you have to come out as asexual or this or whatever? No, because you would be allowed to become whoever you are and it would be celebrated no matter what.
Okay.
No matter what.
Yeah.
I would have been able to be open at 8 years old when I had my first real crush on a boy. That would have been fine and normal for an 8-year-old boy to have a crush on another boy. It wouldn't be seen as, oh God, he's been tainted by someone. No, because that was normal for me. It just happened that way. Would have been normal. It would be normal for children to have that. We wouldn't have parents who talk about their 6-year-old boy like, oh, he's such a lady killer. All the girls in his class love him. You just sexualized your 6-year-old son.
Right.
Because you're so obsessed with the binary and all of that and what that means and reproduction that you put that pressure on your 6-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Instead, that would never exist. Boys could be friends with girls, girls could be friends with boys, and there'd be there'd be nothing.
Yeah.
Because we put that on them. So the answer to where you're at in your head
is there is no clear answer yet.
There's no clear answer yet because we've ventured so far from a perfect world. So the best we can do
is try to be kind.
Is just be kind to literally everyone.
Yeah.
And if someone identifies as something, that's all you identify them as. Because they're trying to make perfect their own world out of an imperfect world.
Fair.
So
Here's
we
my
don't
problem,
have to
though.
understand anything. That's
That's my thing. I
you
don't understand
have to
half of
understand
it.
anything. If someone goes, well, I identify as a female, just go, oh, awesome, great, she, her, blah, blah, done. Erase everything from the head, move on.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
There is one thing. It's not the gender that bothers me. It's the wording that confuses me. It's I understand he, her, and they, and not he, her, and all that. But they and them confuse me because in my head, just my head. I'm sorry, but from my head's perspective, when I hear they and them, I think of more than one person. So it's a little
Easy
confusing.
answer. You actually do use they, them all the time when you're talking about one person. Most people just don't realize they do it.
Oh, like the
Hey,
you
where'd they
guys.
go?
Oh.
When someone leaves the room, where'd they go?
Oh.
You said they on a single person.
Oh.
We use it all the time. They, them has been a singular pronoun since the dawn of English.
Okay.
We just, because of the gender, we have it impacted in our head that no, they, them is plural. No, you literally use it every day, singular.
Oh, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Because I guess like again, it's on your brain's on one thing, it's not on the other.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sometimes you just, again, it's that step back, look at the wide, and go, oh, no, listen, I use it all the time.
Okay.
You know, when you're out with, a friend of yours, and someone goes, where are you going? Oh, I'm going with them over to the blah, blah, blah. You just use them to a singular person. You do it all the time.
That's actually a fair point. I didn't think of that.
No, well, most people don't. Again, everyone needs stuff broken down for them. And if more people would just let life be broken down by other people for them,
Right.
Neutral people.
At least people like you, because I can't.
Neutral people.
I have friends who are LGBT, but here's the thing: I love them, I do, but I don't have that safe space with them like you.
Exactly, because they're angry and they're hurt by the world.
Mm.
And when you're angry and hurt, it can be hard to step back and explain.
Right.
Because your anger and hurt just wants everyone to understand, move on, make life easier for you. Because again, they're trying to make a perfect world out of an imperfect world.
Yeah.
So, love and accept that, and then come over to your neutral person,
Right.
get your answers, come back, because then you're going to be a better friend for them.
Okay, because I need that help, because I am confused at the time.
Absolutely.
I'm like, okay. So honestly, a lot of times, like, oh, this, and it's a word. I honestly have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. And so the best answer in those situations or with those friends when something gets heated or a conversation happens goes, I don't have any answers. I'm working on it.
Right.
Let's put a pin in this.
Okay.
Have patience with me, I'm learning. That can be your best defense statement. Have patience with me, I'm learning.
Mm. Want to hear a funny story? I'll lead out with a funny story. My friend who's a trans, Josie. I think you know her from COT.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't know she was trans.
Mm-hmm.
I only just saw him when he was a he, with a pink shirt. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I walked away with my life. Like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out it's a girl, and she got called as homophobic by somebody on the internet. And I was just like, did you wear a shade of lipstick that pointed out you weren't a trans? What happened? I'm like, what? I mean, but it's kind of sad that now people who are still very angry are calling others who are may even know or obviously
Right.
And like,
Right.
what?
Again, anger clouds our words and our judgment all the time.
I'm like, you're calling a gay guy, very clearly gay, homophobic?
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's like, you don't understand. I'm sorry. Whenever I hear that, I will laugh in their face, and I'll get punched for it because I can't take you seriously. I can't.
Yeah. All right, girl.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Can I put this on YouTube? This is so good.
Oh, absolutely.
I think this is a conversation most people like. I'm really glad we got to have that conversation. The only thing that's holding me back entirely is just the fact that, men have testosterone levels, and that's the one thing that I think hopefully time medicine can help figure out. Otherwise, I don't know. It's a hard subject. So yeah, in terms of the wedding thing, it just seems rude because, you're a guest and all the money spent on the guests and the money and all that. It's like if
like, again, we don't really always know the whole situation, but knowing how sensitive each person can be for whatever reason, no matter the group, it's just, you always gotta be wary. But I get what he was saying, like, yeah, that makes sense, like, often, yeah, but it's also like, okay, but is that the case, or is this the case? Like, so it's like, I just wish people in general can just sit down and talk. And then, if they refuse to budge, okay, then yeah, let's talk about, like, adults, instead of just yelling and going to social media immediately. I can understand if they were homophobic, okay, then yeah, that makes sense. But it's like, calm down, people.